So look, I know you're probably feeling excited yet overwhelmed, mainly because you want to experience Japan like a local, but you're unsure how different it could be from your first trip. Now, if that's you, listen very closely because in today's video, I'm going to share with you exactly how my second trip to Japan taught me new things and what changed since my first visit. This will give you a deeper understanding of Japan's culture and make your trip even better in just a few days.
So Ian, for your second trip to Japan, which airline did you take and was it a direct flight or connection flight?
If I remember correctly, it was Delta Airlines, and it was a direct flight because I learned from the first trip to never do that again. So it was definitely a direct flight. So it was much easier because it was 15 hours there, I believe, and then it was
Direct flight usually
like 15 hours there.
10, sometimes it's less than 10 hours from LAX because of the wind.
Well, this time it was 15 hours there. I believe it was like 12 and a half hours back, or 13 hours back, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. So what was the difference between the first trip and the second trip right after you arrive in Japan's airport?
Well, what was nice the second time, I knew exactly what to expect, and since I've done it before, it made the customs and getting into Japan much easier because I was used to the trip. I actually went the following year, so it wasn't like years in between. It was only 1 year in between, which was kind of interesting. That was pretty cool.
So how long did you stay the second trip?
It was, I believe it was 15 days.
Oh.
Yeah, it was 15 days.
Okay.
More or less.
All right.
It was the dojo again, and we went for a second trip. That's the only time I went with them was those 2 years. My first 2 trips there. So we stayed at the dojo headquarters. We did more training, but what was nice, since I actually knew, I said me and the sensei, the only two that knew Japanese, I had been practicing, so I knew more than I did the first time. So it allowed me to get around, and I started to break away from them even more than I did on the first trip. Because the first trip, they did a lot of silly things.
Yeah.
like there were people doing pull-ups on the rings of the car. The sensei guy was like waving his middle finger around, saying like it doesn't mean anything over here.
That's not good.
And he was doing all these things like, look, I can do all this stuff over here. No one doesn't even know the difference. And I was like, so they started doing that.
No, that's big no.
Well,
they do it.
They started doing that, and I pulled away from them completely. So this trip, it was mostly the same people, but there were 2 other people that went. One person went, he went to go visit a friend, and I also separated from them completely because all they wanted to do was basically drink, and 2 of the other guys were there for something completely else.
You don't have to
worry about that.
But okay, so you separated from them, and where did you go?
Well, I was in Noda City. We were in Noda City again, or Nodashi. And I went to Yokohama, I went to Kyoto, I went to Tokyo, I went to all these places basically by myself on the train.
Oh, wow.
And no one else was there. So everyone goes, oh yeah, I'll meet up with you guys. Yeah, I'll be back in time. So I went sightseeing when they went to go do their stuff.
So nobody wanted to go with you?
Well, they wanted to, but I didn't want to go to see what they wanted to see. They wanted to see just drinking and stuff like that. That was funny. The first time it was during it was both times. It was during the summer. So it was interesting because I don't know. It's really weird. These people, their thing was that they didn't really, they claim they like Japan, but they were there mainly for the martial arts and following the sensei around. So for me, what I did, I was there for that at that time as well, but there's so much more of Japan to see. It didn't make sense to be stuck inside the Honbu.
So did you get the JR pass to travel in the places? Because if you buy a train ticket without the pass, it's pretty expensive.
No, I bought the JR. I just bought the JR pass before I left, so I made sure I had it both times. It really came in handy. It's a little different now, but back then it was really helped with the travel because everything was just there. So as long as you use it within a week's time, you have like 14 days to use it.
7 days, 14 days, and then 21 days.
Yeah, I had a 14-day trip. So basically, I didn't use it the first day. The first day we didn't use it. Those there 15 days. But after that, just constantly back and forth. Everyone there bought it. So we all used it. It's really a positive thing to have.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't think it would save you so much because you're constantly riding trains. So it's really fun. It's really fun.
So you have no trouble purchasing the train ticket besides JR? I mean, except the JR line?
I didn't there in the smaller, really small cities. If I didn't know the kanji, I would ask the sensei what the name of the station was, and he would tell me it's what it was. So then I would use that to help. But most of the big cities, I already knew the kanji, so I could order the train tickets by myself. So any place that I went, for the most part, I stuck to those places because I knew the kanji, so it made it really easy for me to travel there by myself.
But you never lost in the train station, the platform, because they have a lot of platforms and then sometimes it's more than 10. And if you get the wrong train, you're going to go to the wrong, destination. Even Japanese get confused.
I didn't have a problem. I actually saw that I went to the station.
Great.
I walked there. I looked at my ticket, made sure I followed the signs, and like go to this platform for this train. It was really cool. So for me, it became really simple. Also because I had done it the year before, so I used my knowledge from that time also to really help me the second time. It was so much easier. But actually being able to read the signage and knowing where I'm going, and it makes things so much easier than just being someone, like I said, with the rest of my group who were just following along with the sensei, pointing at things or asking him to do everything. Because I was the only person he didn't have to buy the ticket for. Everyone else, he would stand there at the machine and buy them all their tickets individually. He didn't have to do that with me. I bought my own ticket. That was actually very cool.
Yeah, especially in front of the like a train ticket machine. A lot of people are always there, and if you stay with a bunch of people, it's kind of blocking away sometimes.
Yeah, that's what.
That's great.
Yeah, he did that. I just moved to the side and my own ticket.
Okay, great. How about the hotels? Did you reserve the hotel by yourself?
Not on that trip. That was the next trip I did that. But this trip, we basically stayed at the home rule. So basically, we didn't have to worry about the second trip. We didn't have to worry about hotels.
Oh, so every day when the practice ends, you took a train to go there and come back in the same day?
Not every day, but some days, but most days too. So some days were a lighter train than the others. So some days we pretty much just stayed there or in the city and we do things, but or we go to like Tokyo or someplace really fast, like for like a dinner or something, then we'd come back because we have to be doing something the next morning.
Because it takes about like a couple hours from Tokyo to like the Kansai area. So if you're gonna stay there for a couple hours or without staying the night, it's kind of tough.
Well, it's okay because we did that because we had to be back the next morning, so we stayed for a certain time and make sure we didn't miss the last train, and we came right back. So that was actually really fun.
Okay,
and just traveling, seeing other things. So many people are just surprised, basically, that I could say and do things. Now, that's something that was really also interesting too, seeing people's reaction to me being able to communicate with them, unlike the others just pointing at signs to order something or waiting for the sensei to do all of the ordering for them. So that was pretty fun. Like I said, it wasn't perfect, but it was actually fun to actually try. And another thing that was really fun is the fact that after about 4 or 5 days, first it was a little weird, like I couldn't really remember. Then after 4 or 5 days, something in my head just switched and all the knowledge I had just came back.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
It probably was because I was in the situation, so I had to rely on my knowledge, and that was awesome. That's great. Learning makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
When you travel.
So you travel during the summer, right? Like, did you okay with the humidity?
No, that was the worst thing about it. It was so humid. There was one day I can never forget it. We're at a shrine, and the sky's completely clear. Then all of a sudden, these clouds just came out of nowhere. It started raining.
Raining season.
And then all of a sudden,
Then
all of a sudden, it just stopped. And after the rain, it was actually 10 times more humid than it was before it rained. So it was actually worse. But still, there's so many festivals, so many things to see. It actually made it worth it. So the humidity it can be miserable, yes. But after a while, you're there to have fun with you're enjoying the journey. So it's okay. So it's not like if I went like in the United States, like down south or to Florida or something, where it's just miserable and you're just there. Yeah,
it's just the summer season. Like people are not taking enough liquid like water. The people get heat illness. So just be careful, when you travel summer to Japan. Make sure you are hydrated all the time. Not get too sick from the heat and humidity.
The worst part was actually doing the training in the heat because it was so humid. That was actually probably the worst part was that. sweating insanely. But it was fine. We got through it, so it was okay.
Did you have any new experience from the second trip? Like what the most memorable things happened during your second trip?
He took us to a couple places that were actually like a really nice, beautiful park. And this other, I wish I remember the name of it. The things I don't, because at the time, he said the name just really quickly. Oh, we're going to blah, blah. And I was like, okay. And then he never mentioned it again. I asked him about, oh yeah, we're going to the park I mentioned. Yeah, he would say that. But
that's
he would,
fine. Park has a sign, and then maybe, I don't know, depends.
I mean, I could probably look it up now and see what it was. But I remember at the time, I wanted to know because I could go back, but he didn't say it. So it's fine. But he took us a bunch of other places. We also went to a couple of restaurants near Asakusa. We went there again. And there's a couple of places, there were a lot of shops because everyone was trying to buy tabi socks and
what did
shoes.
You buy for the souvenir, the second trip?
What did I get?
For yourself or for your family and friends?
I had to get, I wanted for myself, I wanted tabi socks and shoes, but they didn't have them in my size.
Yeah.
That was the thing. So that was disappointing.
What
that was
about
okay.
T-shirts?
I think I buy T-shirts.
T-shirts in Japanese letter printed?
No, I didn't buy. I didn't buy. So I didn't want to carry very much back. So I remember the smartest thing he said. Also, I made sure when I packed and traveled, everything fit inside of my backpack. So one thing, the smartest thing he said was, when you go there, travel light. Because there were people like the people he was with, they were bringing like 2 and 3 suitcases. One lady, she had like 3 suitcases, and going on trains and that, it's miserable. When you have just a backpack, it's so much easier to get around everywhere because everything's inside. I used compression bags to make sure I made more room.
Yeah, so that's a convenient travel item.
So it takes all the air out, so it takes up less space inside your backpack. And so it was really great to be able to get around just having my backpack. It was amazing. I could go pretty much anywhere I needed to go.
Okay. So did you go home safely, like without any delay of the flight to home?
Yeah, I had no problem at all. Got to the airport, flew home. There was no problem at all.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah, I remember the second time, I think 2 of us from the dojo actually, because the first time I went there and back by myself. This time I went there by myself. I went back with a couple people from the dojo. And one was a child at the time who was doing the pull-ups on the ring. That was pretty funny. On the rings inside the train. But,
oh, no.
That was fine, yeah. Went to LAX and everything was fine. Yeah, it was fine. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, thanks for sharing your second trip. And we're going to share about more Ian's experience, including the third trip and his language journey that may help your language journey as well. So thank you for sharing.
You're welcome. Ian. And the main thing I really want to emphasize is that when you learn the language, it opens so many doors that would be closed otherwise. It's never a waste of time to actually take the time to learn the language. I would definitely suggest that to anyone. So if you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe. And we'll see you in the next one.
We'll see you in the next video. 見てくれてありがとう。